So, if you've been in dropshipping for a while, you will know that any business is only as good as its suppliers. Especially when you're selling high ticket items, the stakes are even higher. So, in this video, I'm going to share my exact process for finding, vetting, and building relationships with premium suppliers. And it's exactly what I teach my students on the masterclass program we have. So by the end of this video, you're going to have a clear step-by-step roadmap for finding these suppliers who can deliver high quality products, ship them quickly, and provide the level of service that your customers expect. So there are really 5 sections to this, if you want to put it that way. So what we have first is we have the criteria. Now the criteria is extremely important. I'm going to go through this step by step. So we have the criteria of the suppliers that we're looking at. We then have to do our research. I'm going to show you how we do the research step by step. I'm going to do some examples with you. We then have to segment. We have to understand where does that supplier fit in with what they're offering, what they can offer our customers, and their relationship to us. We then will look at organizing. So how do we organize that data? How do we make sure that we have everything tracked correctly? And then how do we go about doing our outreach to actually contacting them? And this will be covered in another video. But what I'm going to do is go all the way through these steps in detail with you. So get out your notepad, take some notes here. This is going to be really valuable for you. So this is what you may feel like at the moment. You may feel like you are standing in a warehouse and you are looking online. What surrounds you is loads and loads of people telling you that they know exactly where to get the right products and suppliers. They always say, find the winning product. We mentioned that in the previous videos. You should be looking at wholesalers, at websites that are aggregators that bring them together. Think of Alibaba, DHgate, Oberlo, AutoDS, to name a few. But you are just here and you are wondering, where is the gold? Where are those products that are going to give me a high return on my investment? And we want to find the gold. Okay, so in effect, there is a whole lot of information that you are missing, which is why you're watching this video. I'm going to take you from being lost in this warehouse that is the internet, which has infinite options. I'm really going to show you how we nail this down and how you can actually start finding local high ticket suppliers to work with for your e-commerce business. And by the way, they do dropship too. So here are some key concerns that I always get asked every single time. There's a few emails a week where people are saying, Lex, here's the issues, right? So the first issue is, how do I actually find high ticket local suppliers? Where are they? How do I find them? What's your process? So I'm going to cover that. Many premium brands don't openly advertise they have dropshipping programs. Now that question or concern is incorrect because they don't need to. We're going to be approaching brands, manufacturers, importers, distributors that don't even offer it. They don't even say that they have dropshipping programs or trade accounts. That's a really important point. So if they don't say it, doesn't mean you can't work with them. There's a significant competition for the best suppliers. That is also not true. By the very fact you're watching this video, there are hundreds of thousands of other people who are not watching this video and they are heading to all the other platforms, Alibaba, DHgate, Oberlo, AutoDS, and all of them. So there isn't much competition, especially when it comes to high ticket, because there aren't many people who know exactly how to do this strategy that I'm showing you here. The others are, many suppliers are hesitant to work with new or unproven stores. So in this case, suppliers, yes, it's a valid point. They may not want to work with you if you have no credibility, but I'm going to show you how we can build credibility. And I promise you, if you have no business experience, you've never had any sort of sales online, you can still work with the world's best brands. Okay, and I'll show you how we do that. Then also, some suppliers have been burned by unprofessional dropshippers in the past. Yes, that is true. They have been, but there are ways that we can approach them again and what we say and what we do to actually overcome that. Next is, and the final one is, you don't know who to speak to or what to say, right? So I'm going to be covering that too, what you say, how you approach them, and some of the methods that we use. So this is the overview. I'm now going to jump in and we're going to start with the criteria. So when it comes to criteria, there are really 5 main points that you want to be aware of, okay? So you need to have suppliers who are premium. So this means that they have local products that match the right descriptions and images that they sell, they either import those products, okay? So they're not actually manufactured in the country where you are. So I'll just draw that out for you now. So we'll come over here and we can work with basically a distributor. So where we're looking is we'll have a country of origin. So we will have here country of origin. And let's just say, in this case, we're looking at wine coolers. Let's just say that it's Portugal or maybe in Germany, something like that. So we'll say Germany. That's the country of origin. Where does it then go to? Well, it goes and it gets shipped via a distributor or an importer. Okay, so importer. And they then ship it to somewhere near you in your country into that warehouse. And that is then our distributor. Okay, so we have the country where the products are made, which is fine. Let's say Germany. They're then shipped with an importer and they land in your country with a distributor. Now, this can be the same business. You'll find that global brands, they also do their manufacturing, they have the importing, and they have warehouses where they distribute. Or point 1, point 2, and point 3, the country of manufacturer, the importer, and the distributor could all be 3 different companies. Okay, that's really important. And that's the first thing that we're looking for. The second criteria is that we're working with high margins. Yeah, so the margins need to be above 30%. Minimum we're looking for is 15%. So just keep that in mind. Anyone who offers you 5% or 10%, they are not suppliers you want to work with. Okay, so the next one is reliable shipping with tracking and insurance. This is also key. You want to make sure they have the tracking in place, they have the couriers in place. If they don't, there are ways around that. But the majority of the high ticket suppliers will do. You also want to make sure that they have responsive customer service. If issues arise, that they get back to you very quickly, that the reviews of the products are good online. Because in this scenario, we are not white labeling. We are taking brands that already exist. And I'll show you in a moment in the example of wine coolers. We're taking those products and you are simply becoming the middle person between the manufacturer, the distributor, the importer, and the end customer. And you also want to make sure they have inventory. So again, these are the main criteria that you're looking for. And so when it comes to wine coolers, if we go to Google and we go to Google Shopping, so we're on shopping and we are looking and we're searching for the keywords, and you can see the other videos where I've shown you how we do that. 60,000 searches per month. And this is for the UK. It does work in the USA as well. So for this example, I'm just going to use UK numbers, but it absolutely works in the US too. We have US students as well. So with this, we're getting a number of items show up. So this is the shopping feed, everything, these images at the top, and we can use this to gather some information. So once you've found your keywords that you're looking for, you will be searching them and we're going to find a few things. We're going to find the brand. So we've got brand here, Swiss Cave. We've got Cellar Kitchen Line. We've then got loads of Swiss Cave. So there's actually 2 brands here. Yeah, so we've got Cellar and we've got Swiss Cave, right? And if we look at the website selling them, we can see Swiss Cave is coming from the original manufacturer, which means they do all 3. So they have the manufacturer, they're the importer, they're the distributor, but also there's one other point here, which is they also retail. Now, this is not a bad sign. I just want to make that clear to you. If they retail and they go B2C or B2B, that's perfectly fine, okay? It just means that their business is doing very well. So don't let that put you off. If you see that the actual manufacturer is retailing too, that's fine. But what we can also do is we can look actually in shopping and we can see all of these brands. So under brand, you can see how many brands there are, right? So we have CDA, Capel, Wine Enthusiast, AEG, Bosch. Some of these you'll know, Devanti, George, Electric IQ, Husky, Simmons, some of you will know that. And there's loads of brands here, right? So what you'll do is you will take these brand names, you'll put them on a spreadsheet, you'll literally list all of these. Now, some of them are going to be retailers, like John Lewis. I don't think that they have actually their own wine coolers. Maybe they do, but they could just be a retailer. So what you'll do is you'll take that list and you will then basically put it on a spreadsheet. So all we're doing here is we're just finding everything in the market. And on the filters, this is where it gets important. What you want to do on filters is you want to make sure that the price, there is a section for price. And what you want to do is make sure that when it comes to price, you're going above £300 or dollars. And you can set that on the filters. So you'll see products range here from 1,400, 1,500, 3,000, 1,384. So these are all good, right? These are high ticket. So here's some additional information. What I don't want you to do is actually what Shopify recommends. Okay, so you'll see here on Shopify, and I put where not to look. You don't want to look at where they are saying. Okay, these are all of the worst places for high ticket e-commerce. So Shopify Collective, Sprocket, AliExpress, DS's, Zendrop, Modalist, all of these are terrible. CJ, Doba, Alibaba, AutoDS. You do not want to be using these places. So I've shown you how we do this. We get a criteria. Okay, so we're searching in the country which you're in. We're using the keywords. We are then finding all of the brands that exist, and we're going to benchmark them in a moment. Okay, so make sure you go ahead and do that. It doesn't matter if the manufacturer is also retailing. So next, what we need to do is our research. So now we have that big list. What I'm going to show you how to do is go into this list and reverse engineer. So we're going to find more brands, and we're going to work out where they come from, who the importers and distributors are, and then finding the decision makers. So you'll see here, I went to Google and I looked at some listings, and I simply searched wine cooler and I found winecoolers.co.uk. This is a retailer, and they are also a competitor. Yeah, they're also a competitor. So they're a retailer and a competitor, which means they have brands that we want to sell, right? So what I've done is I've identified one of their brands on their website, just searched in wine coolers, search filter by brand. You can see up here, you want to have a list of all your competitors, and you're going to go and find what brands they sell, and you're going to add that to your list that you've got in the spreadsheet. Okay, so we can see Amica, we can see information about them, and these are good. They look like a high quality brand. However, here's what we do next. So we go to Google and we search for Amica distributor UK, USA. So use these keywords in order. So we use plus after each one. And what happens is, and this is where people overcomplicate the entire thing with complex software, with complex automations. You don't need any of that, right? You can simply use Google here. So we're using the keyword of the brand, the keyword distributor, and you can replace distributor with a few other keywords. So we could do Amica plus we could do importer, or we could do supplier. Yeah, or we could do distributor. So what we've done is we found the brand that's being sold on a retailer's website in your region. We've gone to Google and we've searched for Amica distributor or supplier UK. And what that's brought us to here is we can see the actual Amica website. So I found the Amica website. Very, very simple. Again, this was like the first thing that came up. It was amica.com, something like that. And what we do now is we can see, okay, on this website, this is a good sign. So this is the manufacturer, because on their website, they have spare parts, they've got manuals, they've got information about the company. You can't buy anything on their website, right? So what we would do is we would list down all this information. We can see they have a phone number, they have sales, they have customer care. We probably list down sales, the number. We'd also find the headquarters here, yeah, and we'd note that down. Then we would see there's a contact form, and we would also check this site to see if there's any trade applications, trade forms, become a retailer. Some of them may even say dropship. But what we've done is we've identified a brand. We found competitors who also sell that brand. That validates a brand. It means that it's actually selling well because they're offering it, right? They don't have to, other retailers don't have to sell it, but majority of them will be products that are sold on other websites, unless it's a completely new brand, which is fine. And then what we're doing is we're just listing down the original manufacturer's details. Okay, so that's a very, very simple process. So next we need to segment, right? We need to understand what are the categories, what are the tiers of these suppliers, and how do they fit together? So what I've done here is I've given you the examples. So we have the budget tier. So the way I describe budget tier is there is no application required. They may have on their websites, apply now, trade form, we drop ship, get a trade account, something like that. They may be lower quality, which doesn't mean they're bad. It just means that the actual quality of the parts may be a lot lower than other types of brands within that niche. And again, they may state they drop ship. So an example of this in the high ticket space is something called Coolertron. This is a brand. They have low-end budget products. that start around 229. So this is in dollars, it could be in pounds. We're looking for anything around 300 pounds or above. You could get away with 200 pounds or dollars. So this is the real budget side. So we would label this particular brand in a sheet. We'd label them as budget, right? Very easy. The key indicators is they'll be pretty easy to get on board just because they have all the trade forms or they advertise on their website that they have the ability to work with you as a retailer. They may not say dropship, but some of them will. The mid-market now, so an application may be required. They may require you to fill out some forms, reply to some emails. They may have a very strong brand and be respected. They'll have excellent customer care and reviews, and they may sell to the public as well as other businesses, okay? They'll become most of your revenue, 70 to 80%. This is always the way, right? It's the 80-20 rule. And then they will have trade forms that they send you to open accounts. So an example of this is EdgeStar. So EdgeStar, products around 1,300 pounds or dollars. And again, we would find their website. We would list them down for now, okay? High tier. So with high tier, these ones have a formal approval process. We'll need to speak with them on the phone, most likely. You'll need to speak with a sales director, a manager, someone like that. They do not sell directly to customers, okay? So much like the website over here with Amica, they don't sell directly to customers. They only use their retailer network and they protect their network. There are also stable prices. There's no undercutting, and they use something potentially called agency agreements. So there's MAP, minimum advertised price in the US, and RRP in the UK. And both of those could be enforced if they send you certain agreements. Now, it's a bit of a gray area, but what you don't want to do is you don't want to start undercutting because you'll get removed from these brands very quickly, okay? They'll have excellent margins and customer care. And an example of that is Liebherr. So Liebherr is a brand. You can see here £4,000, 3,999. That can be dollars or pounds. And these products will go all the way up to 10, 15,000 pounds. So I hope this gives you an idea of how we segment. We go for budget and we start listing those. You would list them together. We go for mid-market and we list those together. We go high tier and then we list those together. And now what we're starting to do is build up a collection of competitors, of brands, and we're segmenting where they fit. So if we jump in here, you can see the way that I organize the research that we're putting together for our competitors and also our potential suppliers, manufacturers, and distributors. So to give you a lot of clarity here, you can just replicate what I have in this spreadsheet. Now, this is a crude version of what we have in our program, but again, it will get you results. Remember, keep it simple. That is the most important thing when it comes to doing our research. So we're looking at the brand Amica, and we can see here that that brand was being sold on winecoolers.co.uk. So when you're looking for your products on Google, you're going to see retailers, and that's fine. You want to list them out, and they will either be direct or indirect. So direct are where they only have an online website. They don't necessarily have a physical shop that you can go into. This one looks like it could be a direct competitor because it's on an airfield. No one's going to go visit that. Indirect is where they have a physical store. So they're still selling the same brands, but people have to go and walk into them, okay? So right away from this website, what do you see? Well, we can see brands. We see the brands they're offering: Amica, Bosch, Capel, Candy, and so forth. We can also go up here and see brands, and this is a gold mine, right? We can list down all of these brands: Amica, Bosch, Cave Cool, CDA. So what you want to do is you want to find your competitor. So I put the competitor in here. So we've got winecoolers.co.uk. I've then put in the brands. So just 3 as an example: Amica, Bosch, Candy. And then what we do is we go to Google and we're going to search Amica. So when we're on Google, we'll search Amica, distributor UK or supplier UK. If you're in the US, you would use USA. And we can see that they're a conglomerate. They have a number of websites. They have Amica Group. They have Amica International. And so what we'll do is we'll look through these. So this website here looks like their main website. So this is a big sort of website. Again, very corporate, tells you all the different types of products that they offer. Obviously, we're interested in wine coolers. And here it shows you, what they offer. But there's no place here. There's no place for you to go and sort of inquire or anything like that. I mean, they do have some numbers, but we see that they're based internationally. But we know they sell in the region that we're looking at, in this case, the UK. So what we'll do is we'll keep having a look. We'll go back onto Google. And what I found here is the website that is a .co.uk website, okay? So some of the things that make this stand out, and you saw this in the presentation, is where we have the information, there are things like buy spare parts, download manuals, right? And so what we can do is we can take the telephone number for the sales department, we can take the address, which is here, and interestingly enough, we see they're part of the CDA group. So that means, again, we're fact finding that maybe they're part of a bigger brand, perhaps CDA is the owner, and then they have a variety of brands underneath. That's some of the way that these high ticket businesses are structured, okay? On the right-hand side, you can see get in touch. We don't have an email at this stage, but that's fine. What we'll do is we'll just put the information in here. So the brand is Amica and the manufacturer is actually CDA. So if we go to Google and we're searching CDA, we can see that CDA, they actually manufacture a whole load of wine coolers, right? And so if we go here, we can see CDA is a brand in of itself. What we'll do is we'll come to Google and we'll search CDA manufacturer. And we can see CDA appliances. So CDA they're a business, right? So you can see up here, CDA has trade sales. And there we go. So now we found another brand underneath that. So what we'll do is, although they're related, they would actually be a separate brand as well, if that makes sense. So it's CDA by CDA, but CDA also have Amica, right? So we're starting to do some fact finding, and you can see here we've come across this trade form. This looks pretty good. Trade sales, get stock information, sign up. So what we would do is we would also add this in here. So the UK is CDA. We'd add the website. And when we come across, I've done exactly the same for Amica. You can see we've got the website, the contact, if they have any trade sales. Then do they sell directly to consumers? Well, CDA do not. They don't retail to consumers, nor do Amica. Do they have a trade application? Yes, these guys do, and no, Amica doesn't. And I'd rank them both as high tier, just because there's a few barriers to entry, right? So we'll rank that as high tier. And again, we can put in the phone number and everything in here if we can find it. And you can see contact us. Again, there's sales team. That's just what we need. We'd put that in. And we'd then also see if there's any emails as well. There are more advanced strategies which you can use, like using tools like Apollo, Hunter.io, LinkedIn, but we don't have time on this training to go specifically into that. This is just to show you how we find them, right? So you're putting in all that information. We've started to rank them. And what I'll do is I will do one more and just show you how we go step by step. Okay, so we're going to do one more example here, just so you get to grips with this. We're going to look for the brand Liebherr. So Liebherr. So Liebherr. So Liebherr. And we're going to search Liebherr distributor UK, and we're going to do a bit of digging here. So I'll do this with you. So we can see here that they are, again, this isn't correct. There are a number of businesses called Liebherr. And so we want to type in wine cooler. And I hope you can see how simple this is. So a lot of these are retailers, right? So the first three are retailers. You can see wine storage, elite wine refrigeration, RDO kitchen. They're retailers. You have to be able to distinguish between who's a retailer and where's the actual manufacturer. And we can go here and we can see this is the actual website. This is liebherr.com, ENGB or US. And what this is showing us is we're able to find dealers in their network, okay? So this is good. So this means they're high tier. They are offering their network. They're sort of promoting their network. And what we do here is we just have a look through and see if there's anything to do with trade accounts or not. If there's not, we will go to the contact form. We will have a look and we could fill out this form. So again, they're putting up a couple of barriers to entry. And so this is all the same brand. They import, they manufacture, they distribute. And what we would do is we would put this in here. And are they D2C? No. And is there a trade application? No. And I would say they're high tier. Now, we don't have this information currently, but again, there are tools, like I said, that you can use to get that. So you would just go through and you would go through again. You would do all of these, right? Pavino, Prima, Franke, Hoover, you get the idea. And you would just be collecting all that information. So you don't have to use all these platforms to go and find your brands and plug them into your store automatically. AutoDS, Oberlo, Alibaba. This is real research. I hope you can see this is really you building your own business. You're actually doing your research. You're finding the manufacturers. You're finding the importers. You're finding the distributors. They could all be the same. And then you're collecting the information to reach out. So what you would do is you would fill out this sheet. You would add a lot more competitors, a lot more brands, and you would just add as much information as possible. So the next thing is getting organized. Now, with organization, what we do is we have a sheet, we have a Google Sheet, we have a Trello system in our training program. And what students do is they put together all the suppliers in one place. Then they will move them across as they take certain actions. So we provide all of the processes, all of the scripts, all of the call scripts, the phone scripts, the marketing presentations. But what you can do is you can set up something similar to this. So you'd go with your suppliers, you'd list them all in there and add notes. You would then call them. We recommend calling them first. If you're not confident on the phone, you don't have to. You can just email. We also provide all the email templates. I'm going to show you some examples. And once that's done, once you've called them, then there's going to be some actions you take. Maybe they need following up. Maybe they'll call you back in a couple of days. We can add some tasks to that. Then when we have pending, which means we've done our follow-ups, we're now waiting. We usually wait a couple of days to a week before we re-engage again. Then they'll sign up with you. They'll give you their assets, their products. And then we've done the uploads. We've synchronized them. We've made sure all the stock is correct and automated. So I hope this gives you an idea of what we do when we're looking for suppliers. We have to make sure we have the criteria correct. We have to make sure that we research them correctly and we list them down and find them. That's the most important thing. And then following that, we segment them, we put them into different categories, and then we get organized about how we're going to do our outreach. And so with outreach, there's a number of methods. We have phone, email, demo website, and presentations. I'm going to film another video which goes really in depth into this. So with this video, you will watch this, you'll go through it. You're going to start to take the actions that I've covered here. So do a bit of research. And then in an upcoming video on this channel, I will also link it below in the description. We will cover exactly how we do the outreach for these high ticket suppliers. So thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate your time. As always, if you've enjoyed watching this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with others. And if you are interested in getting our help and wanting to work with us, then you can head to the link below.